What's up YouTube, it's Todd Horst here with Tasty Tracker, and today I thought I'd do another small account challenge update. It's been a long time, so you can see I'm already at 1500 here over, and we are in middle of May, so yeah, been quite a decent while since I've done a video. So at this point, I've been selling the Strangles over and over again through the first couple months in order to increase my buying power. Now that that was up to a point where I could add a third leg here, I added a second put. Now you can see my original strangle here is a 10 delta for the put and a 10 delta for the call. The new put that I've added here for my third leg is a 6 delta. I'll work on increasing that to get it up to parity with this one after a couple cycles maybe. That all depends on how much buying power I have in order to put something on that's a higher delta. So that would require more collateral. So that is the reason it's lower right now. But I will be keeping a kind of a 2-to-1 ratio of puts to calls. Generally, that's how I've been doing it recently, although, you know, things are subject to change as needed. So earlier in the month of May, I had to deposit $100 to meet a margin requirement. I think I was like -80, somewhere in that range. So I deposited 100, and then after a day or two, that came up to being positive, and it's been positive ever since. So just earlier, or just a couple minutes ago, I withdrew that $100 so that it's back to starting with $1,000. But yeah, you would have either needed to have that or deposit it if you were following along. So if we go over, I've been entering and exiting each leg of the strangle individually. So you can see here, close the call, then I sell to open, and then here close, and then I open, and then I close, and then I close these two back to back, and then I open a whole new set, and that's where I added the second put. So just been doing that same thing over and over again. I am looking at the deltas when I enter, so the strikes don't necessarily matter so much, although I tried to go something rounded, so 440 or 435. Occasionally, obviously, you'll see me here with 441s. Of course, I'm speaking in SPY. That would be 441 in SPY. So then once I open it at around the 10 delta, but with it rounding to the nearest 0 or 5, then once it's open, I come in here, put a closing order for 50%, and that's about it. So we can see over the life of the account here, obviously started with 1,000. I started off back here. I was not doing the MES. I was doing just whatever low value tickers I could find. That worked well for the first month, but then quickly backfired, and I lost all of my gains and then some. So then starting here, I switched over to just trading futures, and then it's been steady and consistent, and as you can see, it's even better than what it was back here. Obviously not the first month, but ever since then, I've been very consistent. We're only halfway through the month, so still plenty of time for this month to get back up to where I would expect. So yeah, you can see the account over the total life of the account is up 47%, but just for this year, because I had a couple months here, almost up 50%, which for selling 10 deltas is pretty safe strategy, and still pretty impressive that we can be up 50%. You know, this pales in comparison if you're buying and selling, or if you're buying 0 days to expiration lotto tickets kind of thing. But for the amount of risk we're taking, 50% is pretty insane to be doing that well. You know, given the standard expectation is 7 or 8% annually. If you were to just do this, and this is something that's totally scalable. Of course, if we were had a larger account, we would switch from MES to just ES, um, but other than that, the strategy could stay the exact same and you could be very profitable. So we can see we have had 14 trades over the life here and up almost $500. All of these positions were profitable for a small amount of money, except for shop, which we won two and lost one, but that one was enough to wipe out all of our gains and then some. So by far, obviously, MES has been doing the best. Yeah, so I guess the last thing we could look at is VIX over the time period. So I started doing this near the beginning of the year, and from here we have actually been flat to down apart from this little spike here. So that's obviously a situation where selling Strangles would be beneficial because we're on the right side of that. We would want decreasing volatility, so that has been in our favor. Then we go over to SPY. We can look at SPY. It's also been flat. So here's the beginning of the year. But some people, when you're selling Strangles, depending on how tight you are, this could knock somebody out. And same with this move down and then move back up. And so a lot of times people think of straddles needing to have this kind of price action. But in reality, we traded just fine since the beginning of year, through these ups and downs. Even though it isn't that much. I mean, we're low here was about 380 and high is about 415. So yeah, so pardon the messy chart, but this is what the lines that I normally have. So I think that is about it, the update I want to show. Like I said, I did withdraw the 100 that I had deposited, but just a small note there that, the larger and larger this account gets, the more and more you would want to have on the sidelines available to access. And I'm not talking thousands of dollars, but I needed $100 there. And so it's conceivable that if I get in a pickle again, I might need $200. Um, uh, Alternatively, I could have rolled out my strikes out in time, and that probably would have settled the situation. But instead of doing that, they weren't at risk of becoming in the money or anything like that. So I thought, well, why waste commissions and add more time to the trade when I could just add $100? So that's obviously your call, but that would be an alternate path if you didn't have $100 to deposit. So anyway, that's about it. If you have any questions, let me know.